Hello and welcome. I'm Maziel. Look, I'm excited for the new Epic game. Okay, I've said this. I've made 2 videos. I am excited, but my little bit of me noggin there started making me question why Epic. Of all the Games Workshop could release or re-release, why choose Epic? You already have 2 kind of Epic games: Adeptus Titanicus and Imperialis Aeronautica. So why release it on the ground scale when, we have Horus Heresy, and even in the Horus Heresy box you get a pretty decent army. So again, like I said, this is just buzzing around my head of why Epic, and because the numbers don't really add up to say that Epic would be a viable choice to re-release. Now, I've always been a big supporter of Battlefield Gothic. Now, Battlefield Gothic had one of the longest supported runs for a single edition. A hell of a long run, but I can find that the last annual was 2010 after the game got released in 1999. That's an 11-year run for Battlefield Gothic, and I know it's still got a massive fan base. And if you look on eBay, you will see a lot of 3D printed models, because people are still buying it. Their rulebook doesn't go for silly amounts. You can get it for about 40 quid. And there's plenty of places to download it, including Battlefield Gothic Armada. That book is easy enough to download and find safely on a PDF and things like that. So Battlefield Gothic has a fan base behind it, and it had a substantial run. So, like I said, when I was thinking about why Epic, now Epic first came out in 1988 and kind of finished in 1997. Kind of. I say kind of because in the 2000 there was Epic Armageddon, which was a rulebook which kind of allowed people to play test rules, but it wasn't really a proper starting edition. And of course, Specialist Games stopped all selling of models, including Epic, in 2013. Specialist Games back then was a way of buying the older rules and games, from the Games Works website without, it wasn't very proudly displayed. It was at the bottom, and that's where it was. Now, again, Epic, the other thing about Epic, which is the last proper edition back in 1997, had the shortest lifespan of any Games Workshop game. Now, I mentioned Battlefield Gothic had 11 years, and well, technically, this is why I'm not doing about the closing of Specialist Games. We're talking about supported with extra rules, FAQs, etc., of 11 years. And even if we count the 2000s, of every edition of Epic, that's 12 years. But if we count if we talk about the last proper edition, which had a starting box set, Epic 40,000, that had 6 months shelf life. That was 6 months. And honestly, I can kind of remember it existing and then suddenly not existing. And I remember speaking, and when the 2000 Epic Armageddon came out, I remember speaking to the Games Workshop manager at the time. Said like, "Oh, we're going to be getting new models. It's going to be a new box." I said, "No, this is just a rules," and that was it. So yeah, so the fact is, the last proper one had 6 months shelf life. Just to put this in perspective of Games Workshop games, Space Hog, which is usually a limited edition running, and gets a bit of support. Usually gets about a year of support. It comes out for about a year or a couple of months. That's because it's special edition. Blood Bowl has always had longer runs. Dread Fleet, if those who remember that's a game that kind of popped up and didn't make a big splash and kind of happened. I can remember just seeing that on sale years after release, and I'm not joking. Like, I saw it on sale, about 10 years ago, and that was released 2011. Yeah, it's about 2-3 years after release. I can remember that being out. So that had a longer run than last edition of Epic, last proper edition of Epic. So again, this is why. Now, my brain would always go to money saving. Like, anything with business is always about money. It's rarely about fans. No matter what the business is or who they are, it's always about money. Now, and that would be because releasing Epic means that they don't have to produce 2 rulebooks. They can drop down the 50% of rulebooks down to 1, where we can lose Adeptus and Titanicus, which apparently they're not, but it's a possibility. And Aeronautica Imperialis is get in massive decrease in models because it's now horus heresy only. So any Xenos, which is really, I'll tell you what, that is really weird because the Orcs and the Eldar, and to some degree the Necrons, but mainly the Orcs and the Eldar, were about during the horus heresy. There was no reason to get rid of those because they could still be playable factions within the horus heresy. But it does look like they just wanted to spout out Space Marines. And of course, if you look through like the Liber Imperialis books and what flies, a lot of the non-Space Marine flyers aren't really mentioned. Like the Valkyrie's not mentioned. You can't use that. That's not in the horus heresy books that I've seen. So yeah, you're basically just playing Space Marines versus Space Marines, even though we've seen Solar Auxilia being released in the box, and of course Titan Collegia as well. But to me, it is about money. It's because they don't have to do the free rulebooks. They don't have to do, which by the way is completely balmy because the Imperialis Aeronautica book is very, very thin. It's a very thin book. It's actually a shameful rulebook in my collection. It's shameful, and that's it. And you don't have to do that rulebook. You no longer have to do the Adeptus Titanicus rulebook because people just want just the epic rulebook, just the Imperialis Legionis book, which is also again Imperialis Legions or Legionis Imperialis, which again is kind of a weird name as well because it's automatically saying that they're all loyal, and that's confusing anyway. It's like, why would you put Imperialis as a title for a game that is about traitors versus loyalists? So yeah, my theory is, and I really do think that it's all about saving money. It's about being able to do one game rather than 3, and that's it. Now let's go back to Battlefield Gothic. Battlefield Gothic having an 11-year run of support. 11 years. I don't think I can remember a single Warhammer 40k edition running for that long. Alright? I don't think they ever have. I don't think we've had a Warhammer Fantasy run that long. We definitely not had an Age of Sigmar run that long. But that's the thing. And why aren't they going to go Battlefield Gothic? Battlefield Gothic would make far more sense for a couple of reasons. Naval games, such as Battlefield Gothic, are proving to be quite popular right now. We have 3 that I can think of. You got two. I've got to go back to another one in a minute, which may support the epic bit. But you got Mantic's Armada, which is a fantastic game, and that's getting a lot of support with brand new models. You got Dystopian Age, Royal Cradle's Dystopian Wars, which is a steampunky, divergent universe of ship warfare with giant robots. So yeah, you got 2, and they're doing very well. But Dystopian Wars is Royal Cradle's flagship at the moment, and it's a fantastic game. And the models look really good. Whereas the only one that kind of competes with Epic and has been shown sales via Kickstarter, which means it's actually being supported by the community, is BattleTech. And the thing about BattleTech is that is what actually inspired Epic in the first place. That inspired the Titan Legion game back in the 80s. Which is actually kind of ironic, but that game's still going, and most people still repeat those rules as one of the best set of rules ever, because you can play any set of rules with any models, and you don't have to keep updating the rule book, which is actually one of the best things ever, one of the great things for any game like this, that you don't have to constantly update the rules, constantly doing that. So if you have one rule book, it should have lasted you forever, and it's about selling the models and not the rules. So yeah, so only BattleTech is the one that seems to be the only reason competition that Games Workshop would have for Epic, whereas, like I said, naval warfare is proving to be really popular. So there you go. It's just this is just my thought, and I'm excited for Epic, but I do want to. It does kind of confuse me why they choose a game which has had historically bad sales, very low interest. I know there is a fan base, and there is a fan group. Every community has one. Not saying they don't, but why they wouldn't go to Battlefield Gothic. Battlefield Gothic has a massive fan base, not just for the tabletop, because obviously you got the 2 games as well, which are very popular, and and people like that. Multiplayer games are very good. People like to take things from one medium to the other, which is why comic books based on games are popular, why games based on comic books are popular. Even if the game ends up sucking, you'll tend to find it's popular because they like to enjoy one of their fandoms in a new medium. And there you go. So why do you guys think Epic? Why do you think Games Workshop have chosen, of all the games they could have chosen, why do you think they've chosen Epic? Not Battlefield Gothic, not Man of War, which is another one which actually lasted longer, not Corsair, that's the Man of War game, not Dreadfleet, you know. Why Epic? Why do you think they chose Epic? Not only why do you think they chose Epic, why do you think they chose a nerfed version of Epic? Again, this is something else which kind of confuses me. Epic, this whole idea of just doing a horus heresy just feels like a complete nerf. And that's it. Why would you release a game where you're going to go like, you can be Imperials or Chaos? Those are your choices. You have no choices outside of those. You're traitors or you're loyal. You can't be any form of Xeno. You can't be Eldar. You can't be Orcs. Again, both about during the Horus Heresy. Necrons, apparently about during the Horus Heresy, because you had the so-called conversation with, I think it was Trajan and the Silent King and Sanguinius. So yeah, that was meant to have happened. So why a nerfed version of a game? Why would they do this? I mean, wouldn't they want to compete and show, you know, in a field where if they're meant to be the best and they're meant to be number one, why wouldn't they go out and, you know, prove it? Why would they choose a game which hasn't really? Honestly, I completely forgot about Epic for a long while. I did. Battlefield Gothic was always far more interesting to me, and like, if you ever read the Battlefield Gothic books, the lore inside is something else. And of course, they did retcon some of the lore, you know, because Abaddon needed a win on Cadia. Imagine that, you actually needed to bring back a dead Eldari just to give Abaddon a win. Yeah, it happened. Abaddon got the win because they brought back Eldred Elfwin after he sacrificed himself to destroy a Black Fortress. Of course, then you had things like the Black Fortress coming out, and what they were and how many Abaddon had. A lot. He had a lot of these very rare ships. So yeah, again, why do you think Epic? Why do you think Epic is an option? What if you were Games Workshop, which game would you have brought back? Would you have brought back the game that, you know, literally failed because it had a short lifespan than the Virtual Boy? Or would you bring back the one that had one of the longest lifespans and has still a very, very committed fan base right now, and it's quite large? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I hope to see you all again soon. Another unscripted video, but just one I wanted to talk about. I got some thoughts about Epic and all that. I want to get off my chest and just, you know, do a bit of a vlog. I'm not going to do these vlogs that much. I really want to focus on, you know, talking about how white armies are good and why you should collect them, and, you know, saving money. But I do want to. This is something I wanted that needs to be discussed. It really does. In the fan base. So leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. I would love to see those. I'd love to see you guys subscribing and everything else. Links to Wayland games as always down below if you wish to try out Armada or Dystopian Wars, which honestly I would suggest either game. They're fantastic looking models, they're fantastic fun games. And next, this is my comics, my merchandise, and of course Patreon. But as always, treat yourself to something nice. I'd rather you do that than just give me money. If you do subscribe to Patreon, you get your name in the credits, and maybe a short early. If I do one, I do those rarely, and I've got to be in the mood to make them. If I'm in the mood to make some people giggle, there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all very soon.